Every city seems to hide one place people refuse to talk about, not because they believe it is haunted, but because nobody can remember exactly what happened inside. The attraction appeared beside an abandoned amusement park without advertisements, without an owner, without anyone announcing its opening. Yet every Friday night, a long line quietly formed outside its rusted entrance. Some visitors walked away smiling. Others refused to ever mention the place again. No pictures from inside ever appeared online. Every video stopped at exactly the front door. Only gray static remained. People assumed the owners were blocking phone signals to protect their secrets. That explanation sounded believable, until police admitted they had investigated the building several times. Every camera they carried failed. Every recording disappeared. Every officer remembered something different. Nobody ever collected the entrance fee. Visitors simply dropped cash into an old wooden box sitting beside the gate. Seconds later, the heavy front door slowly unlocked by itself. No employee appeared. No greeting was heard. Only darkness waited inside. Even before taking the first step, the air suddenly felt colder, as though something deeper inside already knew another visitor had arrived. The first rooms felt almost disappointing. Plastic skeletons, dust-covered coffins, cheap fake blood, old animatronics shaking with loud mechanical sounds. People relaxed. Some even laughed. The haunted house wanted exactly that. Fear becomes much stronger. When people convince themselves there is nothing left to fear, every hallway quietly encouraged visitors to lower their guard. Near the middle of the attraction, an old emergency evacuation map hung crooked on the wall. It showed 12 rooms. Nothing unusual. People continued walking. Then someone looked back. The map had changed. A narrow hallway now stretched beyond room 12, far at the end. One old wooden door waited inside complete darkness. Above it, a faded number slowly came into focus. 13. Nobody wanted to be the first to open room 13. The group stood silently watching the old wooden door. Then, without warning, it slowly creaked open by itself. Beyond the doorway was another hallway, longer than the one outside. The walls looked different, older. The fake decorations had disappeared. Even the smell of old plastic was gone. The air now carried the scent of damp wood, dust, and something that had been sealed away for decades. The moment everyone stepped inside, the door behind them quietly closed. There was no loud slam, only a soft click. Someone reached for the handle. It would not move. Their phones remained dead. Flashlights barely worked. Even breathing sounded strange. Every footstep echoed much longer than it should, as if the hallway stretched far beyond what their eyes could actually see. There were no monsters waiting. No actors jumped from hidden corners. Only old family photographs covered the walls. Each frame looked damaged by age. Faces had been scratched away. Names carefully erased. Yet every picture felt strangely familiar. The longer people stared, the more certain they became. They had seen those families somewhere before, just not in this lifetime. The hallway never seemed to end. Every few minutes another identical corner appeared. The wallpaper never changed. Neither did the flickering ceiling lights. Someone quietly looked behind. The hallway they had already walked through was gone. Only another endless corridor remained. For the first time, everyone understood. This part of the attraction had never been built by human hands. At the very end stood another wooden door. Unlike the first, this one had no number, only a small rusted plaque. The letters had almost completely faded. One sentence could still be read. Those who remember may leave. Those who do not will remain. Nobody could explain why. But every face suddenly felt colder than before. The final door slowly opened on its own. Beyond it was not another hallway. It was a small living room. Old furniture covered in dust. A ticking grandfather clock. Yellow-stained wallpaper. Family portraits hanging perfectly straight. Everything felt strangely familiar. Not because anyone had been there before, but because it looked exactly like the place every visitor remembered from their earliest childhood dream. Each person began noticing different details. One recognized a favorite childhood toy. Another found a framed family photo that should never have existed. Someone else quietly stared at a rocking chair that moved without wind. No two visitors saw the same room. Yet everyone believed they were standing inside their own forgotten memories. The house was no longer showing illusions. It was reading them. The Japanese man slowly reached toward one dusty photograph resting on the fireplace. The picture showed him standing beside his parents. Only something was wrong. A fourth person stood behind him, tall, thin, its face hidden beneath complete darkness. As he looked closer, he realized nobody else in the room reacted. Only he could see it. The figure had always been there, waiting. Every clock inside the room suddenly stopped. The silence became unbearable. Then every family portrait changed at once. The smiling faces slowly disappeared, leaving only empty black shapes where people had once stood. One by one, those shadows turned their heads, not toward each other, toward the visitors. As though they had finally been noticed, the room slowly grew darker, not because the lights went out, but because the walls themselves absorbed every trace of light. The photographs vanished. The furniture disappeared. Even the floor beneath their feet faded into darkness. Only the tall figure remained, standing perfectly still, closer than before, its featureless face silently waiting, as if it had spent years searching for the one person who finally remembered it. The figure slowly lifted one impossibly long arm, not toward the visitors, toward the old family photograph. The picture quietly changed once more. Everyone standing inside, it slowly disappeared, leaving only the shadow behind. Then another face appeared beside it, the Japanese man, smiling, as though he had always belonged there. Nobody remembered seeing the picture change, except him. The room suddenly returned to normal. The lights came back. The furniture looked old again. The photographs showed ordinary families. The shadow had vanished. Even the hallway outside had returned. The visitors quickly ran toward the exit, certain the nightmare had finally ended. When they reached the front gate, morning sunlight was already waiting. Only a single night had passed, or so they believed. News reports quietly revealed something impossible. The abandoned amusement park burned down 23 years earlier. The haunted house attraction had been destroyed with it. No rebuilding permits had ever been issued. No company had reopened the property, according to every official record. The building they had just escaped had not existed for decades. Yet every visitor clearly remembered walking through it. Days later, the Japanese man began noticing small changes. Old family albums now contained photographs he had never seen before. Every picture showed the same tall shadow standing somewhere in the background. Birthdays, school ceremonies, family vacations. The figure had always been there, hidden just far enough away to escape attention. Until now, he could no longer convince himself it was only imagination. 1 week later, another abandoned carnival appeared outside a different city. Another haunted house quietly opened its doors. Another wooden box waited beside the entrance. Another line of curious visitors slowly formed. Inside, the emergency map still showed only 12 rooms, until someone looked away, then looked back. Room 13 had returned, waiting. for someone else to remember.